And good morning to you. We are just past the 8 o'clock hour. Good morning, Northwest Oklahoma and South Central Kansas. Craig Killman hanging out here with you on both of our Blue Sky Media stations this morning. We're on 105.7 The Pulse and also on 1430 KELV. Special guest joining us this morning, and we appreciate him for coming out and certainly his busy schedule and talking some baseball here in early February. We're talking to Northwestern Ranger men's baseball coach Ryan Bowen. Coach, how are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Craig.
I appreciate it. I know, like I said, it's a busy time for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys just opened up your season over the weekend and getting ready to open up the home portion of your schedule. So it's got to have been kind of crazy situation how quick everything kind of comes up on you. Did it feel like it kind of jumped up on you, or were you just ready to get here?
You know what? We're ready to get here, because we have all fall. We have our fall scrimmage season, and our guys really worked hard this fall. And we didn't scrimmage anybody on the outside. We just inter-squatted and had really good practices, and felt like we were, that helped us prepare. And then, we came back. It seemed like a week earlier than a lot of other people, and it gave us an opportunity to practice a little bit more. And after being here 3.5 weeks. And having some pretty good weather in January, we were pretty, we were ready to see somebody else.
Sure.
And so we're excited to get the season going. Obviously, this past weekend, but we're excited to play at home in front of everybody. In Northwestern Oklahoma.
Let's go back a little bit. We're going to talk about your past weekend series with Christian Brothers, and we'll preview what's coming up this week. But let's go back just a little bit for you personally, taking the Ranger baseball job, and I guess for a lot at this point, a lot of people probably know you. You've had a chance to be in the community and you've had the job, but. Let's go back a little bit about, you spent, of course, 5 years as the lead assistant at Southeastern, had some great success under Coach Mike Matheny, who I know was just tremendous, I'm sure, to work with. But take me through the process of when that season ends and this job comes up and everything kind of got together, and kind of what led you to take the Ranger job.
Well, I tell you what, we really enjoyed my time in Durant. Obviously, that was my alma mater.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed my time there. Met my wife there. And,
awesome.
And so, that place will always be special to us. But as we move forward, ending last year, we kind of had a little bit of a down year, even though we made the playoffs and finished 6th in the conference last year, and had a chance to advance. But we were returning some guys, but I was just on the recruiting trail hard, and I was actually recruiting whenever I saw the news release of the job opening,
right?
And immediately I was interested.
Sure.
I like Northwestern Oklahoma. I lived out here when I was younger. My dad was the head baseball coach at Leedy High School, and so I've always I've lived all over the state of Oklahoma, but I really enjoyed Northwestern Oklahoma, and then every time we came out here to play, I was just overly impressed with the facilities,
Absolutely.
with the support.
Oh yeah,
and I was immediately interested, and I started going through the process of just getting paperwork going, and I called. I spoke with several people about the job. One of them, former Ranger coach Ryan Bowen, is at Northern Oklahoma College in Tonkawa, one of my real good friends,
awesome.
And he was able to help me quite a bit as far as who to talk to and information out there, and I was fortunate enough to get an interview, and it all went well, and they offered me the job, and I happily accepted it, and it was a whirlwind. I mean, it seemed like it happened really fast. I mean,
all of a sudden
all of a sudden, I mean, it was. I mean, it was. I was, and I actually was in the middle of a youth baseball camp back in Durant, and I went ahead and finished that,
Sure.
and then I moved up here and went to work.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, because once you take the job, then you got to jump in
absolutely
with both feet, obviously,
absolutely,
and then you go through the fall and all that stuff.
Without a doubt,
it goes fast.
Without a doubt, it goes really fast. I mean, the summer, there was a lot of work to do. We had a lot of we had several guys coming back. We had a lot of incoming players, and, and we were still trying to add.
Sure,
at that moment, we were able to add some key pieces that are really helping, that are really going to help us this spring, and so it was a busy time, and went straight to work and tried to we'll give our best effort to be the best we can in 2018.
What was it like putting your staff together? Because that's the other part. You're recruiting, you're doing all this on the fly, but then you're also trying to get your coaching staff.
Absolutely. I had several guys. I had several guys in mind, and then the first guy, Tyle Hankins, is our hitting coach, right. And he is a lot. I feel like a lot like me, a small school, small town Oklahoma guy.
Yeah.
I relate really well to him. But he's made a name recruiting in our conference. I mean, he's recruited at 2 different schools in our conference and done an awesome job. Works his tail off. I mean, and so asking him to come on board, I really was adamant to get him here.
Sure.
And I worked real hard to get him here, and he was coaching in the summer at the time, and we were fortunate enough to have him. He had a day off, and he was able to drive down, and I'm so happy that he was able to make the decision to come here. And then Luis Reyes is our infield coach, grad assistant. He was at Murray State College.
Okay. And
I recruited Murray State a lot, and saw him every day, and he was always doing something. He was always working, throwing bat in practice, hitting ground balls, and they just raved about how good he was with the infielders. And this weekend we had 1 error on the infield in 3 games. I mean, that just kind of goes to show what we feel like our infield is capable of.
You bet.
And that's a lot there's a lot of credit goes to Coach Reyes. And then Coach Gilbreth, Aaron, was the pitching coach here last year, and I actually knew Aaron before he was at Northwestern. He was at Northeast Texas Junior College, and kind of had a mutual connection. His dad played at Southeastern, just like I did. And,
got it. Yeah.
And so, but anyways, really, all the pitchers that I talked to when I took the job, they were really high on Coach Gilbreth, and I was already really high on him, and it was a no-brainer to keep him. He does a tremendous job, and I'm telling you what, and then our volunteer Charlie Letourneau, he just walked into my office in the summer. His wife is Laura Miller, the softball coach.
Right.
I tell you what, Charlie does a tremendous job, and all of our guys, our whole staff. We have guys from different parts of the United States and the world, but we have different takes on things. But I don't know that you could find a more complete staff. I mean, I feel like we have the best staff in the conference, and they're all young, they're all hungry, they're all wanting good things, and I feel like there's going to be good things to come.
Absolutely, and certainly the proof is kind of how you've started. As you said, let's go back to the weekend series in Memphis, against Christian Brothers, and obviously you always want to start well, and you whether you're on the road or whether you're at home, but you kind of won in a lot of different ways, which is kind of nice. You won the close game in that opener 2-0 I think you were no hit through the first 6 innings. I kind of followed along as I was doing the basketball game that day, but got a great pitching performance from Walker Wharton. Great to see him back after the injuries that he's had.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about him. He was the pitcher of the week, but so you win that one 2-0. Then you win the 6-3 in that second game, kind of still close, and then the bats just woke up in that Sunday game, and you kind of pounded them. But it's kind of nice to see you win in different forms, right?
Absolutely. I think, and I shared this with the conference when we did our preseason interview.
Right.
I feel like that we have the ability to do a lot of things. I don't feel like we're going to be one-dimensional at all, whether or not we can really pitch it or we can really hit it, and even go so far as the pitching staff, and the offense. I think we're going to be able to do multiple things within each facet. But you go back to the first game. Walker. I mean, coming back off of injury last year. I mean, coming out and pitching the way he did, 1 hit through 7 1/3. Oh my goodness!
That hit was in the bottom of the first, and then nothing the rest of the way.
I mean, there was not even a threat until he gets to the end where he's kind of getting a little bit tired.
Sure.
It was that really set the tone for us for the weekend, because if it stays knotted up and we don't get one across, and then they find a way to get one, the whole weekend could change.
Absolutely.
And it was a big, we get one across and then get another insurance run in the 8th. But they had bases loaded in the 8th, and Matthew Bickford, one of our senior relievers, another senior, comes in and gets the 3rd out, gets a pop-up with 2 outs and the bases loaded, and really helped us. And then we had a freshman come in and shut the door. And so,
well, I mean, you got to love your bullpen
Absolutely.
doing that. I mean, closing that. You talk about Bickford. That's a kid that's done a lot in terms of pitching here at Northwestern.
Without a doubt.
He's been middle reliever, late reliever. He's kind of one of those guys that can do just about anything for you. He's going to be really big, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, he's kind of a swing guy for us. He's going to, he's a guy. He's tough as nails. He'll take the ball on any situation. He wants the ball, and I'm happy to give it to him because that's the kind of competitor we need on the mound, especially in those tie ball games.
Absolutely. Then you jump out the doubleheader and jumped out really well in that second game. I think, was it 6-0 and playing really well. And then they kind of come back and makes it a 6-3 game. But again, Sean Rydell, I thought, gave you some a good start in that second game.
Absolutely. He gave us a great start. He kind of hit a wall there. Early, you never know how much is in the tank. Sean has really prepared himself and he's one of our most talented guys on the mound. He throws really hard and big, strong kid. We feel he has a chance to do some really big things. But he just kind of ran out of gas there in the fifth, and we had to go to the bullpen, and we were able to get out of a little jam. Nick Lorente got us out of a jam, and then same thing. We were able to hold it. Lorente held it for the sixth, and freshman comes in and shuts the door again. 2 saves the first day. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you got to love to see that right off the bat. And from an offensive standpoint, those first 2 games, again, hitting, especially early on, is interesting. I mean, some days you're going to have it, some days you might not. But situational hitting is what you want as much as anything in those games, and you got it in those first 2 games.
Without a doubt. Our guys, even though we didn't score as many runs as we would like to that first day in both games, but we had tough at-bats all day. Our guys really worked the count, saw a lot of pitches. The guy we saw the first game was really good. Yeah. I mean, he was upper 80s, low 90s, had a real good changeup, and he was a tough guy, And then the next guy they started was pretty good as well, and they had a couple of real nice bullpen pieces. I would say, that was the strength of their club is on the mound.
Right.
They didn't swing it as well as they would like to, I know, especially on the weekend, but they had some guys that could really pitch. I mean, guys that would be really important, really good guys in our conference.
Sure.
And so, we had tough at bats that whole first day, and were able to, get, have good at bats when it counted,
yes.
and get the runs across, and give us that cushion. And allow our pitchers to go out there and close the door for us.
Well, and we haven't gotten into conference play yet, but I mean, from coaching in the Great American Conference, and I mean, there's going to be great pitchers that you're going to have games like that where, it may be tough and your guys are going to have to battle it out, and you just got to give yourself a chance against those guys.
Absolutely. Everybody in our conference from top to bottom, their number 1 and 2 guys are going to be really good. I'm telling you. And you could put those guys in about any conference in the country, and they're going to be starters. They're going to be guys that are impact guys in their conference. I mean, it's a dogfight every time we play, and we got to be ready to go. And you're right. I mean, you just got to compete. You can't worry about the results, what you're doing with your average, what you're doing. You just got to go out there and compete and be the best you can that day, and let the results fall. Let the chips fall where they may.
And then, of course, on Sunday. As a coach, you love to have a game when the bats really do start flying. 14 runs, 17 hits. You jumped out on them early, and just kind of the bats were really all over the place on that final day. Yeah,
it was great for us to go out there the first and score 6, especially since we had a freshman making his debut on the mound that
Absolutely.
day. That really eased a lot of anxiety, I think, and our guys just wore it out on Sunday. I mean, hit line drives all over the field. Had 10 extra base hits.
That's tremendous.
Able to drive the ball in the gaps, and it was incredibly encouraging. I mean, we really think. I mean, we got guys at the top and bottom that can really run, but we got some guys in the middle that have some juice. I mean, they have a chance to drive the ball out of the ballpark, and even though we didn't do that this weekend, we hit some balls. I mean, I thought we were going to knock the wall down a couple of times, this weekend. So really excited about finishing the way we did and getting out of there with a 3-game sweep.
No doubt. When you envision this team as it goes forward, non-conference, and when you get into the conference, when you look at offensively, now you don't have to name every guy, but what are some of the guys that you're really planning on kind of having big years for you think?
Well, a guy that drove in, a lot of runs this weekend, Justin Bundy, plays third base, hits in our 4-hole. He's a transfer from East Texas, from Northeast Texas Junior College, and left-handed hitter. Just plays hard, but has some raw power. I mean, he can really hit. The ball just explodes off his bat. But then, you got a guy, returner, Steven Decker.
Yep.
He's going to move to first for the most part, play first most of the spring. And, he's a guy that just is consistent day in and day out, has a chance to drive in a lot of runs for us. And then, you keep going down. Jordan Van Amstel is a senior. He's limited defensively now because of some past injuries, but he was our DH all weekend, and
good.
Man, he's
came out of it hitting 364.
Absolutely,
so, yeah.
Absolutely, and he really can handle any kind of velo. I mean, his hands are really fast, and he just finds a way to get the barrel to it, and he's a tough guy as well. But you look at the top and bottom, and I want to name every one of these guys, but you look at the top and bottom. You got a guy like Luis Centron. He's a kid that played at Clarendon Junior College in West Texas, from Puerto Rico, and he just has tough at bats. And he's going to kind of set the tone for us. He sees a lot of pitches at the top of the lineup, and then you got guys like Dash Johnson, Greg Carrington, that can hit in the 2-hole that did this weekend. Those guys can really run. Give our guys a chance. In the middle to drive those guys in from anywhere, and then at the bottom, you got guys like T.J. Kasner, Brock Randalls. Both guys, TJ was here last year. Brock is a new player from Western Nebraska Junior College. Both of those guys have a chance to kind of turn the lineup over for us. They're both play hard. Their defense is what they do really well, and we're looking for those guys to just handle the bat and just kind of pass the baton down the line.
Sure.
And turn that lineup over for us. But
the guy I heard about, he didn't get to play last year, but Judas Zickafoos was a name that I heard some, in last year. And like I said, he didn't get a chance to play, but it sounds like he had some impact as well.
He did. Yes, Sunday had a real good day. Hit the ball hard. Really most of the weekend, but was 2 for 4 Sunday. Had a big double. Drove in a couple of runs. Even had he's a big, strong left-handed hitter, and had a tough at bat against a left-handed pitcher that had a good breaking ball, and so that was encouraging. But Judah's still finding his way back. I mean, he's extremely talented. Big, strong left-handed hitter. Going to play right field for us, and he's a guy that if he can get back in rhythm, he can carry us offensively because the ball. If anybody comes to the park early on a day we're playing and watches him take BP, it's really impressive.
Right.
I mean, extremely impressive. So,
no doubt.
We're excited about him being in the middle of our lineup as well.
Let's talk pitching staff a little bit, and then we'll talk about this week as well. Of course, you can't get a whole lot better pitching than you did over the weekend with Walker doing what he did. But as you envision this pitching staff, and everything is certainly you got to keep everybody healthy. But what is the overall staff, starters and even relievers look like that you think?
It's we feel like we have a couple of those seniors, Walker and Matt, that are going to kind of anchor us. But we're pretty young. You look at Sean Rydell and Nick Lorente, guys that pitched over the weekend, they're sophomores.
Right, yep.
You got Trevor Stone, who started on Sunday as a freshman.
Right.
Bryson Roble, who got 2 saves on Saturday, freshman. Ryan Markosha, who came in and pitched and will probably get a start this week, is a freshman.
Yeah.
And so, we're fairly young. And we have a couple of guys that are nursing, a little stiffness.
Sure.
Upperclassmen guys that we're counting on. One's Matthew Gertzen, that we really want to get him back because he's a starter guy that could have a huge impact for us when we get to conference, and we're trying to get him back. Not rushing back too quick, but we want it to be as quick as possible.
No, sure.
But we're really deep in our bullpen, Craig. We feel like we have some good pieces. We got some hard throwing guys, and then we got some submarine sidearm guys. We don't have a plethora of left-handed guys in the bullpen, but we got several different unique guys that we can go to. I mean, you look at guys that pitched on the weekend. Matt, obviously Bickford, but Barron Phillips is another kid, a sidearm kid that throws a big slider that right-handed hitters just have trouble hitting. Yeah, and then Tyler Bernhardt's a redshirt senior that come off surgery last year, and he's a hard-throwing, big, strong kid from Watonga, and we're so happy to have him back. And he finished the game for us on Sunday, and then a guy that didn't pitch on the weekend just because the situation didn't come. We got him up one time, but Brandon Nezarella, Alva kid, sub big kid, big, strong. He's gotten, he's made his body into a, he's in a lot better physical shape. He's a sub guy, and he's got a lot of depth on his fastball, and guys just have trouble lifting it. He gets a lot of ground balls, and we feel like he's going to be a real important piece as we move forward. And then I haven't talked about that freshman at the back end that much, but the Bryson Roble, I'm telling you what, we are so excited. He's a Ranger. He's a freshman that's gonna pitch a lot for us in the next few years, and we're just so excited about him having the opportunity to shut the door for us at the end. And he's electric, man. I mean, he's got. Well,
you love to have a guy in that position that you feel like is going to really jump out of there.
Absolutely, for sure. So just excited about the different options we have. Right. We're not all the same. We're not all right-handed and mid to upper 80s. We got guys that are sub guys. We got a couple left-handed guys, but we have guys that are up top and throw hard, and we got guys with good curveballs, and so we're able to mix and match a little bit, and we feel like we have the pieces to really finish games well, as long as we can go out there and get leads like we did this week.
Sure, absolutely. Real quick, I know I want to talk a little bit more about Wharton, the Great American Conference Pitcher of the Week. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make him feel good right off the bat. Getting the Conference Pitcher of the Week. Absolutely.
He's gone through all this work to get back. People don't understand. In today's culture, they think of UCL and Tommy John's the immediate answer, and sometimes it is when you have a tear, and it was for Walker, but they don't understand how hard it is to come back from that. And he spent a year and a half getting his body ready to come back and ready for this moment right here. And how awesome is it to see him to get rewarded right away?
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, and he deserves every honor that that he gets. And we think he's poised for a big year, and just excited about how he can finish his Ranger career as a senior. And we're excited about what he's going to do for us and set the tone for the program moving forward.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this week because you had to shift some things a bit. As we talked about, when you're playing in early February, that's just kind of what you're going to get. But you were scheduled to open up today your home game against Fort Hays State. That's been moved to tomorrow. Just talk about, you're going to wind up playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with 3 days in a row, how that all kind of shook out.
Absolutely. We've been looking at it all weekend, and I feel like I'm as much of a weather watcher in the spring as I am a baseball coach.
Absolutely.
Because when we go out there and play, it's easy, Craig. That's what I'm used to. But then trying to watch the weather and make decisions, that's where I guess I earn my money. I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyways. Yeah, we're going to play 3 days in a row, which might, people might, from the outside looking in, that might be pushing it early in the year. But, hey, here's the deal. We got to get used to being challenged a little bit. We got to get used to, getting some different guys on the mound, and then also getting some different guys that didn't have as big of an impact this weekend in the lineup, right. and seeing some other guys and kind of feeling out what our club's actually going to be like, because there's going to be situations, at the end of the year, if we're fortunate enough to be right there and be in the conference tournament, hey, you got to go play for it, 3 days in a row.
Sure,
and so hopefully this just, we feel like this will just prepare us for later on down the road. But Fort Hays comes in here tomorrow. It was a no-brainer to move it off of today because today is just a miserable day. Yeah. But tomorrow it's going to be a little bit better, 45 and sunny. And they're coming off a good weekend too. They're 3-0. Where they won 3 games at Texas Permian Basin, and so
Well, they play great MIAA,
absolutely.
so they're a great conference.
Great conference. So it'll be a good matchup for that first home, home opener. But then Thursday and Friday, Missouri Southern comes in here, and they're picked 7th in the MIAA, but they've won it, as recently as 3 years ago. And
so they've got tradition.
They've got tradition. They've got really good players. I mean, we match up against them a lot when we're recruiting a lot of the Oklahoma, Kansas player.
Sure.
And we matched up with them this fall, and they're going to have really good players. So that's going to be a fun series, and it'll be fun to open up Thursday afternoon with them. And
3 o'clock start.
3 o'clock start.
Doubleheader. Are they both? Are they both 7s?
No,
we're
gonna play a 9 at 3 o'clock, and then we're gonna play a 7 right after that.
Okay,
and so that 7 o'clock we'll flip the lights on. So if you're around Alva, you see the baseball lights on, just come out. I know it's gonna be a little chilly when the sun goes down, but hopefully the forecast holds true, because it's supposed to be light winds.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a pretty pleasant February evening.
Yeah.
So, but then we're going to play a single on Friday at 1 o'clock for them to get out of town before the cold front hits,
Sure.
hopefully. And so it was just one of those deals. You hate to move games off of the originally scheduled date, and especially on weekend dates whenever more people can come out.
Right.
But whenever you're looking at 30s and north wind at 20 to 30, trying to play baseball on that is not any fun.
No.
And so we just felt like, and there's other people in the state that are doing the same thing. I know Oklahoma Baptist moved their games up with Oklahoma Christian, and so there's other people that are doing the same thing.
Sure.
And so we're just trying to be ahead of the curve as much as possible and play in the warmest weather we can. Get ready for next week.
Absolutely. Good luck to you guys as you open up. I know for you it's got to be, well, for the players to play at home. You just got to love that. Finally after the 3 games on the road, and you get to play them right back to back. So it'll be a nice little homestand for you and see what happens.
Absolutely. So. It's our guys are super excited to play at home for the Ranger crowd, and they've been talking about it. We took the day off yesterday, but we went to class, and I saw guys in the hall, and they're excited about opening up at home Wednesday. I mean, they're just and not only that, after coming home 3-0, that makes things even better, more exciting. And so our guys are ready to go, and we feel like we got the pieces to have a good season and make a big step forward in the conference.
So Ryan, again, I appreciate you coming out. Again, I know you got a busy schedule, a lot of stuff going on, but we appreciate you coming out and talking Ranger baseball, and we look forward to following you guys all season.
Absolutely, Craig. Thanks for having me again. Ride Rangers Ride.
Absolutely. Ryan Bowen, the first-year head coach for the Ranger baseball team, joining us this morning. Again, the home opener for them tomorrow at 3 o'clock against Fort Hays State. That'll be a 9-inning game. They've got a 3-game schedule coming up on Thursday and Friday. The doubleheader on Thursday starts at 3 o'clock, and then the final game on Friday will start at 1 o'clock. All those games, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, will be at Glass Family Field at Myers Stadium. That's going to wrap it up for our interview with Ryan Bowen. We'll get you back to regular programming here on 105.7 The Pulse and 1430 KELV.